Strange stories have often been handed down explaining eerie occurrences around grave sites. Here we look at two of those mystifying phenomena. The Black Angel. Iowa City's Oakland Cemetery contains numerous monuments to the deceased, including one striking statue with a dark reputation, the bronze Black Angel. The celestial form dates back to the early 20th century and seems to stand watch over the graves of Teresa Dolezal and her family. Teresa was born in Bohemia, now part of the Czech Republic, in 1836 and moved to Iowa City with her son Eddie in the late 1800s. She worked there as a midwife until 1891, when Eddie contracted meningitis and passed away at the age of 18. The young man was buried in Oakland Cemetery, and Teresa arranged for a monument carved in the shape of a tree stump to be placed to mark his grave. The tree stump has an axe embedded in it to symbolise Eddie's life having been cut short. After the loss of her son, Teresa moved to Oregon, where she met and married Nicholas Feldevert, a wealthy rancher. Feldevert also predeceased Teresa 14 years later in 1911, leaving her a massive inheritance. Now without both of her loved ones, Teresa returned to Iowa City. That's where she commissioned the sculpting of an 8.5-foot tall bronze angel from Chicago artist Mario Colbel, by which to memorialise them. As soon as the statue was delivered by train car, stories started to circulate. When the angel statue was erected, Eddie's monument was moved to a spot beside it, while the ashes of Nicholas Feldevert were placed inside the statue's base. When Teresa Feldevert passed away in 1924, her ashes were also placed there. By this time, she had donated all of her wealth to her village of Stremolov in her native Bohemia. She had funded a school, the town library, student scholarships, and a memorial to fallen soldiers. As a result, there was no remaining money to pay for Teresa's death dates at the base of the monument, further fueling the statue's mystery. Over time, accounts were more about the legend than actual history. Local stories sprang up to explain the phenomenon of the Black Angel statue, with most centering around Teresa's past. Some claimed her to be a sinister figure and that the statue had changed its colour to warn people to stay away from her grave. One particularly dramatic tale reported a thunderstorm on the night of Teresa's funeral when a lightning bolt struck the Bronze Angel statue, scorching it black. Other versions attributed the blackening of the statue to Teresa's infidelity, claiming that she had sworn on her husband's grave to remain faithful until her own demise, with the monument turning black if she didn't keep her vow. Some even claimed that she was responsible for her own son's passing, and that the angel statue blackened as a mark of her guilt. Reason dictates that the colour change occurred as the natural process of oxidation. In actual fact, the statue has always been black, as the sculptor did not believe that a funerary figure should be a shiny bronze colour. Accounts from 1960 onwards indicated that Teresa was unhappy with the colour of the angel and refused to pay the artist. Colbel filed suit and won, with the statue finally erected at the gravesite in 1918. Strangely, local newspaper reports from that period never mentioned a lawsuit. However, the gossipy legends persisted, with some witnesses claiming that the angel's eyes had turned black as coal overnight, and that the dark stain had then spread down its face as though the angel was weeping. Accordingly, with such a reputation, it's little wonder the Black Angel statue is now said to possess sinister powers. One superstition warns that any girl kissed in the shadow of the angel's wings will expire within 6 months, and that anyone who touches the angel on Halloween night will pass away in 7 years. Kissing the angel directly was rumoured to cause a person's heart to stop instantly. Another variation states that only a virgin can survive touching the statue without being struck down, while yet others claim that the angel itself gets down from its pedestal and stalks the cemetery at night. In 2013, the Sci-Fi Channel series Haunted Highway staked out Oakland Cemetery to film an episode on the Black Angel, which aired on December 18th that year. Investigators captured eerie sounds and visual anomalies throughout the cemetery. When they trained their thermal cameras onto the Black Angel statue, they were stunned to find that it showed up as glowing hot, even though it was a chilly night. Another researcher, Patrick Lenane, visited the monument in 2014. He and his friend made sure that they did not touch the angel. At one stage, Lenane glanced back at his friend and insists that standing directly behind him was an elderly woman clad in a long black dress. Her silvery hair fell in a tangled mess around her face. He claims that in the split second he saw her, she also stared at him, her eyes as black as the statue, and then was gone. The Witch's Foot in Bucksport, Maine, carries an indelible stain in the shape of a witch's boot or stockinged foot. The memorial stone of the town's founder, Colonel Jonathan Buck, features the prominent mark of a mysterious origin. According to local legend, the leg-shaped stain on the memorial is the result of a curse placed by the son of a witch whose execution Colonel Buck had ordered. Apparently his heirs tried to clean and even grind down the foot image from the stone, and are also said to have replaced the monument twice, but the foot kept reappearing. The deformed son of the condemned woman had reportedly invoked the curse, stating that the colonel's tomb would bear the mark of a witch's foot for all eternity. However, there are many versions of this story, some claiming that the woman herself laid the curse, and others that the boot shape represents her dismembered limb which rolled from the fire. However, historical facts completely debunk the legend, which seems to have been created by a local newspaper in 1899. For starters, Colonel Buck was born in 1719, long after the last witch trial in America, where no so-called witches were ever burned. Equally, no witches were ever put on trial in the state of Maine. Colonel Buck was a justice of the peace and therefore didn't have the authority to try and sentence anyone. The stain appears on a monument which was erected in Colonel Buck's memory nearly 60 years after his passing in 1795. His actual grave is located in another part of the cemetery, and his real headstone is untarnished. Stonemasons have commented that the stain is caused by a vein of iron oxidizing within the granite, which may explain why it took several decades to appear with weathering. So the Witch's Foot is at least one reputed haunting that we don't have to feel nervous about.